Hey guys, this is a video of Chamath Palihapitiya absolutely destroying Scott Wapner on CNBC about stock buybacks and CEO incompetence. Let's check out this video and then we'll talk about it.
On that. However, I could easily come back to you and say, so what do you say about a company like Apple, Chamath? Are you saying that Tim Cook is not a good steward of that company? They've bought back arguably more stock than anybody else. That was at one point the most valuable company on earth. A lot of people beyond Apple shareholders or Apple employees have been rewarded as a result of that. Every Apple shareholder and people who have stayed with that company for a long period of time have been rewarded. The company still has a hoard of cash that it is sitting on. So what's the difference?
You just proved my point. So let's assume you had two kids. One kid was called IBM and the other kid was called Apple. One kid, every time they made a buck, spent a buck. The other kid saved most of that dollar and every now and then spent 10 or 20 cents. And then all of a sudden something happens and the first kid starts to ask you for help and the second kid is just sitting around thinking, well, I saved for a rainy day. That is the difference between IBM and Apple, and that is exactly why I think Tim Cook in many ways has done a good job because he has kept so much cash always available to do a deal. Warren Buffett is another great example. You only do these things when the stock is low, when it's below some sort of intrinsic value, and when the incremental cash is just absolutely not necessary. You don't do it with the primary oxygen that you need to survive. And that's what most of these companies have done. And that's why this whole issue is just one of these things that really upsets people, because when you work inside of a business and you yourself are giving them your entire life, you're giving them your most valuable asset, which is your time, you expect, and you should expect, that the CEO and the board are exercising good judgment. And in my opinion, buybacks are the primary example of a growing strain of incompetence amongst CEOs and amongst boards. And it's where we need to start thinking about how the rules need to change so that average shareholders, retail investors, the stakeholders of these companies benefit more.
I'm just suggesting
and in times like this, hold on, Scott, and in times like this is where it gets exposed. So for example, instead of, the argument against this, by the way, that people always make is, well, the capital markets are efficient, and so when we do share buybacks, we allocate the capital more efficiently into other things. And what I would tell you in rebuttal is it's clearly not true. In a moment where we needed an economy to be resilient, what we had are people making masks out of socks and underwear, our primary healthcare workers forced to use rain ponchos to protect themselves, and people instead who actually were able to profiteer from the last 10 years of low interest rates and debt-based buybacks, buying beachfront condos and art and apartments in New York City. It's totally broken.